Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Hash It Out. My name is Justin Moorhead. I'm here with Mitch Evans, and we're excited to talk to you about James chapter 5, verse 12, which is what Mitch preached yesterday. So the whole idea with Hash It Out, if you're new to Hash It Out, is we're going to not run back through the whole sermon kind of word for word, but just talk about some of the ideas, concepts from the sermon, hopefully for some edifying content, a jump-off point, springboard, if you will, into some other adjacent ideas or just directly connected ideas. So it's one verse. Mitch didn't want to do too much this week, so just did the one verse. It's James 5:12. I'll read it. But above all, my brothers, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation. So let your yes be yes, your no be no, the familiar idea. Also in the Sermon on the Mount, we get this idea. But the idea really just being the integrity of our speech, that we mean what we say what we mean, we're not going to be liars, we're going to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. That's the idea right there. Yeah.
Just took an oath, right?
Yeah, just took the oath.
Oh, gosh.
That is, it kind of gets on top of itself.
It does.
So here's the first question I have. There are some lies that we like to call little white lies, or even some lies that we feel like we would be wrong if we didn't tell them, like that casserole tastes great. I think that outfit is perfect for you. Whatever the case may be, we tell these lies to protect the feelings of other people. Is that okay? Does the Bible say we can't do that anymore? We shouldn't do that? Tell us about these little white lies for the good of others.
For the good of others, yeah. It's interesting. In Islam, that's a principle. That there are times when they have three instances in which you should tell a lie. One is in war. It's appropriate to tell a lie in war. And so what people have done with that, and I don't think that this is too far of a stretch, is they've said you should not tell a lie to somebody else who's within Islam, but to somebody who's outside of it, you can tell a lie. So different Islamic scholars will debate that. Is that really true? Is the infidel necessarily an enemy? But the Quran is saying you can tell a lie to an enemy.
Right.
In cases of war. I think on one hand we could see that. Another instance, though, is if the lie is in the benefit of the person being lied to. So quite literally, one imam that I was reading said, yes, you should. So if they burn the casserole,
sure,
you want to tell them, it wasn't as bad as you think.
Yeah,
it was still pretty good.
Even if it was as bad as they think.
Yeah, so I would say Christianity does differ at these points where we would say, no, you should not lie to somebody. I'll give you where I think a whole different perspective than the Muslim world is American Idol. So American Idol originally got famous because people had been lied to. They've been told their whole life, you are incredible.
Yeah.
And they got on there, and the good years when Simon Cowell just burned them down.
Yeah.
You're pitchy. You shouldn't be on this show. You've wasted your time. Somebody's lied to you. He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. So do you have to, therefore, err on a whole different direction, right? You could fall off of this stool in different ways. I think a whole different one comes Jim Carrey's movie, Liar. Right? Do you remember, what was
Liar,
the
Liar.
Liar, thank you.
Hands on fire.
Absolutely. But then, so he gets like the truth serum, and he has to always say everything. So you can be truthful, but that doesn't mean you have to say everything that you think.
Sure.
So I could just keep my mouth shut about the casserole, eat it.
Yeah.
And I have found this is a public service announcement. Cheese and Texas Pete will cure a lot of casseroles. You put a little cheese and Texas Pete on that sucker. You can eat burnt casserole.
Yeah.
I've heard, for all the people that have seen me use cheese and Texas Pete, I'm now offending.
Yeah, that's right.
So yes, we do not have an instance, you would say, where Jesus seemingly tells a lie to smooth over the feelings of somebody else.
Sure.
So I think that's a very helpful piece. Does everything need to be said? No.
Sure.
So I think you should be really delicate, right? With your spouse says, how does this make me look?
Right.
However, there have been times where my wife has gently given me wardrobe advice. And it was the right thing to do.
It was the right thing.
Yes, I needed the wardrobe advice. I was not really looking for it. I just
Right.
wanted to walk out of the door. How do I look? Yep,
Yeah.
you look fine. And she was brave enough.
Yeah.
A couple times. Yeah. So,
Sure.
yes, I would say the little white lies in general should go.
Okay, good. That's helpful. We'll all take stock of that.
Yeah.
The other thing that came up in your sermon had to do more with commitments and the way that we make kind of promises or commitments in sort of an everyday type of way in our society. Like, I'll meet you at the park later, I think was the example you used. Now, when we're quick to make plans with somebody, are we also doing so in such a way that we reserve the right to send a text message later and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it, and that becoming a very common kind of familiar practice? Just because we don't really feel it anymore, it's something came up and it becomes more convenient. I get 100% that that should not be kind of a typical way that we operate. However, with something that's more legitimate, like I have a migraine. I could go and push through. It's just a migraine. I'm not contagious. It's not going to jeopardize their well-being. I just don't feel good. I have a migraine. Is that appropriate to cancel? Or like car trouble, like I could work it out and change this flat tire and be only like 30 minutes late, but really at this point, I just want to go home. I'm stressed out because I changed this tire. Rather than trying to push to make it work, where do we draw the lines as far as how extenuating a circumstance has to be in order for us to feel free to no longer have to uphold our commitment?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Honestly, kind of an interesting biblical illustration to me. Interesting to me. Abraham is blind and near death, and he wants to pass along his inheritance. So he's got two sons. So he tells his oldest son, who should get the inheritance, Esau, if you will go out, kill some game, come back and make a nice meal for me. At that meal, I want to give you the inheritance. Esau says, absolutely, heads out. So Abraham's wife overhears this. Isaac's wife.
Isaac.
I said Abraham, I'm sorry. Isaac is who I mean.
Yes.
Isaac wife overhears this. Isaac is the one who sent out Esau. However, Jacob comes in, disguises himself as Esau. He puts fur on his arm so that he knew his dad would kind of touch his arm. And I'm thinking,
Dude.
yeah.
That's a hairy dude.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of like that about Esau, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has this game that he prepares, all this stuff. So Isaac says, verbally, you've done this. You feel like Esau. You don't sound like him, but you smell like him because he's wearing his clothes. You've prepared this food. So I want to give you the inheritance. Then he walks out of the tent. 10 minutes later, Esau comes back. I got the game. I'm ready for the inheritance. And he says, oh, I just gave it to your brother. I thought for a long time.
Sure.
Well, why don't you just say, I
yeah.
got tricked.
Right.
Hang on. Go tell him the inheritance is not his. It actually belongs to you. You're the one who gets it.
Right, yes.
So the Jewish concept at the time, the biblical concept, is that a spoken word carries with it a weight. So the word exists outside of you. So if I have spoken it, it comes into existence. And then therefore it stands alone apart from me.
Yeah.
So we have something real similar. If somebody signs a contract, they can't just go back and tear that contract now has like a life of its own.
Sure. Yeah.
So it stands alone. The reason I would say it's a biblical principle and not just an ancient Jewish principle. In Matthew, Jesus says, you will be judged and answered for every careless word. I think it's in Matthew 21. But every careless word. So not just that you will be judged and be held account when you really meant it.
Right.
So I would say to err on the side, and would be very countercultural for us, that if I said it, and this is what James is getting to, that's equal to an oath. That's equal to a contract. That's equal to something that lives on its own outside of me. And so I can't just retract it. Oh, I didn't mean to say that.
Sure.
Right? You're going to be judged for every careless word. So I think that's very much in Isaac's working understanding.
Sure.
I spoke this. It's now in existence. I can't just retract it. And so I'm sorry that I got duped and I spoke that into existence, so to speak. But that is now the case. My word has to stand, or it's meaningless.
Yeah.
And so I think to err on the side of, I want to do everything in my power to uphold my word.
Sure.
So I think in a bygone era in America, that was the experience. That was kind of the cultural phenomena. Sure. That man's good to his word was something we thought. Now we have so many words floating around everywhere. I heard recently a influencer justifying herself for, was on a Netflix documentary, but she said, you can't expect me to actually go do everything I've said. I put out 4 or 5 videos a day. So I'm using so many words that I can't really be held to my word.
Yeah.
So I think we would be in a very countercultural spot to say, I don't feel like going. I've got a little bit of a headache.
Sure.
And it's just a fun activity. But I said I would be there.
Right.
So I'm going to go with my headache. Certainly there are things that be prohibitive.
Sure.
I got in a car accident. I literally cannot
make it
come.
Yeah.
Right. Or I could, but I'm going to be dragging my leg behind me. So I think, yes, you would say there's wisdom to this. All I'm arguing is I do not find in our culture us struggling with, I need to bail out of commitments, and I'm really feel tied to upholding my word, and I might not bail when I should.
Sure. Yeah.
So I do think our struggle is very much the opposite way. Our struggle is, at least my perspective, is I said I would be there. I just don't feel like doing it. I'm going to bail on you, and I think that's totally inconsequential. I don't think I'm going to be judged for every careless word.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think it even to think about the that idea that if my word, if it has that it's going to be meaningless if I don't see to it that it's upheld. Like if I say something, it exists outside of me. Certainly, you think of ways you could stretch that illustration or that principle.
Yes.
But I think that the idea, I don't know, makes me think of creation. I mean, God's speech literally creates something outside of himself. To be godly and to think, I want my speech to have this kind of manifestation of something substantial that's going to be there, kind of, especially if it's preference-based. I don't really feel like it, or I might have to be a little bit late, but it's worth it to try to rush and work it out. Even if it kind of stresses me some, it's better because I said I would do it to try to be there. I agree 100% would be countercultural.
Dude, and I'll give you 2 ways I think it'd be, 2 groups would be countercultural for. Southerners.
Yeah.
And overcommitters.
Yeah.
So I remember as a kid having an aunt and uncle say, y'all come see us now. And my parents say, we will. And neither party, and I am throwing these folks under the bus, they're still living. But neither party, they meant it in the Southern way of like, yes, we would love to have you stop by theoretically sometime, but we don't really have any intention of doing this.
Right.
And that was just part of the culture. So I would say, as we've had an influx of these Yankees moving down south lately, or Californians or whomever else moving to the Charlotte area.
Yeah.
And I think you should be on the lookout for those people. But one of the things I think they've rightly deduced is you all say things and you don't really mean it.
Yeah.
So I think it is that careless word. The other one are the overcommitters. So I don't say no, I say yes to everybody, but there's no way on earth I can actually uphold all of these yeses. To say, I need to be brave enough to say no, because that would be a lot more accurate. I'm going to be a lot more dependable. And so really that comes down to, I'm afraid I won't be liked if I don't say yes to everyone. For sure. At the same time, I think to say, I have the right and responsibility to say no.
Sure.
And so I should uphold that. So I think those 2 groups, really, for the overcommitters, I think it's freeing to say, I've got to actually say yes or no and be dependable to that statement.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, caring too much about what people think about you, certainly there's a fear of man, fear of God component there. God means for me to say no sometimes if it's going to allow me to more faithfully uphold the stuff I say yes to. And I would really rather God think of me well than this person that I'm just going to tell him yes, and that yes be real empty. It would be better for all my yeses to be very substantial, and in order to do that, I got to throw some no's in there. You know, what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes. So I think that's real helpful. Well, hopefully for you all listening, this was a helpful conversation. Let your yes be yes and your no be no, mean what you say and say what you mean, all that good stuff. So yeah, chew it over. Hopefully you'll join us next time on another episode of Hash It Out.